What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I wanted to show you guys some footage of me when I used to be fat. Believe it or not, I am a personal trainer and I used to be a fat kid. Between the ages of 16 to 18, I got real strict with working out. Something that really bothered me when I was a kid, it was that I was overweight. I was always, hefty. I was always that kind of chubby kid, and it gets real old real fast. Some people like that never grow out of that. So I kind of wanted to show you guys what I used to look like, what my mindset was back in the day when I was eating all that food and when I wasn't into fitness, and where my mind really was. Because compared to where my mind was, these pictures will be from anywhere between literally 10 to 15 years ago. I remember distinctively having this bitch mentality. I'd be scared to even go to even football practice because I was afraid, so bad afraid of that kind of stuff. So let's actually get into this. Let's delve deep. We're gonna watch some videos of when I used to be big, and if you stick around to the end, I'm gonna show you guys one of my only viral videos that actually, if you want to call it viral, which I used to be fat in. So stick around. We got a lot kind of coming up with this little episode, so hopefully it'll be fun. So we're gonna start on my Facebook, just because these are gonna have some of my older pictures. But this is back when we were the Little Indians, and this is me right here. I'm actually playing center, and I was playing against my buddy Garrett back when we were, man, I'm telling you, we must have been 11 or 12, and I distinctly remember, this is going back to about like my mentality when I was this age. I'd always played lineman when I was in football. I actually didn't start losing weight until after I quit football in the 10th grade. I think that had to do a lot with, how a lot of coaches push, especially for the linemen, and this is toxic as hell. You should never encourage a overweight person to become more overweight, and that's exactly what they were doing. They would give us meal plans that would say, oh, you need to be eating milkshakes, you need to be eating these big ass burgers trying to gain weight. And I get it, if you're a skinny kid, absolutely, you need to gain some weight, you need to gain some muscle, especially if you're playing athletics. But if you're overweight and you're hating your life, dude, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You should be encouraging to lose the weight and to actually get into a better fitness position. Not put these kids in this position of trying to get them to play better in a certain sport that you want to play. I remember back then, well, obviously I didn't turn into a football player. I'm an MMA fighter. I did not like football. I did not like it. I don't even watch it now. And it goes back, I'd always have these coaches, and even after I quit and lost all that weight, they tried to get me back on the team. I'd have all these coaches, I'd have all these, older people who are really into football, because obviously I'm from Arkansas. It's what it's all about here is football, 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 even though you're overweight watching it. Boo to you. They would say, man, it's a real shame you don't play football. Like, go fuck yourself, you fat motherfucker. You go get in shape and you start doing some athletic shit. Stop telling these little boys what to do when they don't even know what their future relies on. And here's the thing, I 100% think that if I hadn't have played football, I still would have lost all the weight I did. 100%. Had nothing to do with them other than the fact that I wanted to spite them and piss them off. Because I remember whenever I quit football, the coach came up to me and was like, ooh, you better get out of here because these guys are probably going to be upset that you're quitting this team, blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, shut your fucking face. That shit pissed me off so much. And I showed them. I mean, I'm the only one that was ever anyone in my grade that was ever in football. I'm the only one that probably still works out. And I can say that for about 80% of them, because I still talked about 80% of those guys. Bewildering to me that people push this kind of stuff, man. Especially at such a young age, you don't even know what you want to do, And I remember coming to football practice being scared out of my mind because, and obviously this goes back to me having that bench mentality, and why I needed to come find these on my own is because I was so scared of that mean coach. I'm not going to put any names out there, but there's always mean coaches out there. And I was so afraid that he'd make me run until I threw up, blah, 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 blah. And eventually I came to the conclusion after I quit football, I was like, I'm never going to let anyone do that to me again. Ever. And it was that decision to put myself through the worst possible thing I could be through. I went through an MMA fight, for God's sake. There are very few people who can sit there and say, yeah, I've gone mano v mano against another full-grown man who is trying to hurt you, and people are sitting there clapping, saying, yeah, hit each other. I don't know very many people who actually get put in that situation, personally. Now, there's a handful of people, you know, and they're MMA fighters. But I definitely think if I would have stayed in this little football mentality of listening to the coach, listening to everything I was told, doing what I was told, listening to the people that are older than me, that have more knowledge than me, I would have never gotten to the place I was. So lesson number one from this picture, never let people tell you what to do with your life. You decide that. And if you love football and you're young, that's great. Play it. But at least have your own opinion, man. Don't sit there and listen to everything your coach or even your parents have to say and take it for granted, because they're humans too. They're not right 100% of the time. So yeah, here is back when I start getting chubby again. This is probably not even a year later. This is probably 6 months down the road, and you can already see that my face is a lot more puffed up. I'm trying to pull that Justin Bieber look, because that's how it was back in the day. And I'm obviously wearing bigger clothes, you know, and I distinctly remember feeling like no girl wants to talk to me. My confidence was so low. My confidence was extremely low. I remember thinking, well, if I could just be that funny fat guy, maybe my chances will go up. And that's how I turned into that funny fat guy. As my friend group, that's what I was most well known for. I was the funny fat guy. Even if it was at myself, you know, I would make the group laugh and stuff like that. But even though I was laughing with these people, I would still feel that hurt. You know, it was like, man, this is the only contribution I have to the group. And it just sucks, man. It really just, because you don't feel like you're the number one, you know, you're the number one person in your own story. And this all, you know, this stemmed nothing from what my friends would do. This stemmed a lot from internal dialogue on myself being like, man, you're a fat ass, man, you're a fat ass. And it just got so toxic after a certain amount of time that I was like, all right, you got to do something about it. You got to quit telling yourself these things, because I did it for years, man. I know. Trust me, if you're overweight and you're watching this, don't think I don't know what that feels like. Don't think I don't know that internal dialogue of frustration where you're just sitting there going, man, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I doing this to myself? And it all comes down to, what are you not doing? Are you working out? Are you even trying to diet? Or are you just sitting there complaining about your life because you just now realized it? You gotta take the information and do something with it. Because I learned this a long time ago, man. If you just sit there and dwell on it, nothing happens. It just keeps either getting worse or it's going to stay the same, and nothing happens. So you either start doing something about it, or you don't, and you just keep complaining and hope someone cares about you to, you know, hopefully take you in and make you feel special. But more than likely, that's not going to happen, and still you're going to be fat. So I don't see the point in that. God bless, man. And here is probably around where I was at my biggest. God damn, man, this is hard for me to look at. Look how round that face is. Jesus. But damn, dude, I remember taking this picture and thinking, man, this is probably like the best I've looked in a long time. And even looking back at this now, I look terrible. And that just shows you the mentality you can get into thinking. It's such like a bipolar mentality. Like, one minute you'll be okay with being fat, the next minute it'll just hit you all at once and you're like, God, I'm so frustrated, I'm fat, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And that's the issue. That's one of the main issues people have, is this. It's the focus, that it's a day after day after day thing. This isn't just, oh, one day you're going to work out and then another day you're not. You know, it's you got to stay focused on it. You can't, like, for example, I'd go out to eat with my friends when I was dieting, you know, and this is probably a year later is when I started probably losing weight. Maybe not even that. This must have been right after I quit football, I think. Because there was like a leeway period after I quit football where I didn't do anything. I felt sorry for myself. I remember like the stuff the coach said about the people not liking me after I quit football. It kind of stuck in my head, and I was like, well, I don't have any friends because all my friends were in football, and that was furthest from the truth. They definitely still hung out with me, but definitely less because they were still just playing football. And you know, after school they had football practice and I'd just be hanging out by myself. And then when I would be hanging out by myself, man, I'd be eating food. I mean, that was the number one thing it come down to, is I want food. And it really came down to it almost being like a form of like drug addiction. And it is, man. It's a big misconception that people have, is that, you know, they think that we can make all these other extra drugs like meth and heroin and weed illegal and think obesity isn't just as bad. It's just as bad. It kills way more people, and you can look up the statistics right now. It kills significantly more people. It's the second most preventable death besides smoking, and a lot of the people who smoke are overweight as well, so they kind of run into each other. 60%, so it's over half of America. Over half of America is either on the verge of dying, on their way to dying, or on a deathbed. So you got to keep that in mind. Like, I was using this as substance abuse. That's what this was. And if you think that food cannot be substance abuse, then you are highly ignorant. I'm sorry, because I've been there. I already know it was. I've been on the other end of it. And it's literally like you have to have almost like an intervention with yourself and just be like, man, you got to stop. And honestly, this is where I tell a lot of people to start fasting a little bit. The intermittent fasting is actually what kickstarted a lot of my fat loss. And I remember I would even, like, just for the sake of mentality, and if you undermine mentality when it comes to dieting, you aren't going to make it.
Sorry, get out of here. You ain't going to make it.
You have to get it built down. So something I would do is I would pretty much fast for 2 to 3 days at a time just to see, like, because here's the thing, man. You can go 30 days, just about your average Joe, and I was definitely fatter than your average Joe. You can go 30 days without eating and be fine. I just wanted to see if I could even make it more than a day, and I would go like 2 days, and I didn't do this often. I would do it maybe once every 6 months, you know, like just to see like where my mental was, if I still had that mental fortitude, man. And I'll tell you what, man, nothing tests your mental more than when you're hungry or exhausted. Nothing. Your brain will start trying to play tricks on you. I remember on one of those days I was fasting. I was staying up in I was at my dad's house, and I was staying up in my bedroom. And I remember my grandparents came over, and they came with M&Ms, and they had M&Ms down there. And I remember it was just, they didn't bring them for me, but they bring them, you know, they bring them for everybody. And I was just staring at them, man. I remember just looking them down, filling my mouth. And this was like a day and a half into a fast. There's just water in my mouth, dude. Like, I remember thinking like, oh my God, that could be so good. And then I also remember thinking, why are you thinking this stuff? Like, you know, you're not going to eat it. Like this, you're fasting right now. Like the mentality right now is fasting. You're not eating it. It doesn't matter how good it looks. And I remember having that back and forth exchange until eventually I had to remove myself from the environment before I ate them. But I remember that back and forth exchange was just being like a mental, almost tug of war between the good side of your brain and the bad side of your brain, trying to fight over, you know, should you do this, should you do that? And that comes back to the addiction part, man. It is 100% an addiction. And it goes back to, I like to tell people this analogy a lot of the times is that, for example, you don't have to eat carbs. A lot of people don't know this. Like, that's why the keto diet works so well. Nobody has to eat carbs. We're addicted to carbs. We are addicted to carbs. You can survive very healthily without any carbs. We could be carnivores if we wanted to, not have any adverse effects at all, because we get everything we need essentially to survive. Obviously, that's not talking about thriving. You know, you won't, you know, the best athlete is going to be someone who does both, obviously, because we are omnivores at heart, but we do not have to have them. I think what it comes down to is that when it comes to addiction, and I've read a lot about it, it helped me get through a lot of this. You know, losing the weight and stuff. But when it comes to addiction, it's really about your brain getting in a substance, and pretty much your brain, the reason you get addicted to something, your brain's going, oh, I can use this as a tool. Hence why, you know, we use a lot of drugs as, you know, everyday life. You know, we've found it to use as a tool. Here's the biggest example that's going to blow some of y'all's mind. Vyvanse, Concerta, Adderall, all of that is not necessarily seen as a bad thing until used in abundance. For someone with ADHD, that's actually seen as a good thing. What most people don't know is that it is one molecule away from meth. And it's essentially meth. It is an amphetamine. And it is addictive. It is addictive just like any other addictive substance, just like nicotine. But we use it as a tool. For someone who has ADHD or ADD, it's a very, very useful tool. For someone who's trying to gain a lot of muscle, or someone who's athletic and is expending a lot of energy, someone who eats a lot of carbs, that's going to be a very useful tool. But for someone who's overweight and is just abusing the system of using those tools, then it's no longer about using it as a tool. It's about abusing it and using it as an addiction. And that is with everything. There's a lot of science that's starting to come out nowadays that is showing that almost every addiction stems from the idea that we have seen that whatever we're addicted to is a useful item or a very good tool to use in our everyday lives. Another example would be nicotine. The reason we get addicted to nicotine is because It's a very useful neurotropic. It literally enhances your cognitive function, which is why it actually prevents. It prevents dementia, it prevents Alzheimer's, it prevents a multitude of mental illnesses. Yet everyone gets on that. It's an addiction train, and they think it's all bad. You know, I'll tell you what else is addictive: high fructose corn syrup. Where can you? And it's actually more addictive than most things. Where can you find that? At every grocery store, at every school. Every school sells juice. Almost every juice, and I guarantee you the juice the school sells has high fructose corn syrup, which is the most addictive type of sugar. And yes, it is addictive. So is ketchup. If you're eating ketchup, it has high fructose corn syrup. That's addictive. And yes, that is killing you. Again, 60% of the population is overweight. So you can't sit here and tell me that you're going to play this blind game to obesity and sit there, and especially for me in the South, you know, they glorify Southern eating, man. They glorify it. And don't think you're safe either, Northerners. But it just goes back to that thing, man. It's like, you got to find that balance. Nothing is about black and white. It's about gray. Where are you in the grayness, you know? And you got to find that balance. It's not just about eliminating. I'm not about any type of elimination diet. You got to find the balance. It's the most important key to any type of fitness journey or even diet. With that being said, I've figure that we're going to go ahead and look at some really good videos of when I was a fat kid. So starting off, we're going to look at this channel. This channel is a channel I made when I was a kid, and I labeled it The Dumb Kids because I think even when I uploaded this had been like 2 or 3 years after I had recorded this, and these were just, you know, videos on my camera that we were wanting to do. I'll give you some context. Here's what I was trying to do. I was trying to recreate a Jackass scene where I just remember when I was a kid watching them get hit or something, and then there would be a shot of them going, oh, I'm hurt, blah, 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 you know, for the camera. And I didn't understand anything about editing back in the day. And so all I would do was stop recording, you know? And so my brother was recording me, and he didn't stop recording. And anyways, this is what happened.
Oh. Hi, I'm Chase Cliff.
God, and you can hear the fatness in my voice. My brothers acted ridiculous. They'd always act. Yeah, watch this.
Stop the things.
Stop the thing, Sage. Oh my God, this has 140 views. Yeah, and I remember being a little bit of a bully when I was a kid too, and I think that just went back to me being super insecure and stuff like that, especially to my brothers. But who isn't a bully to the brothers? Yeah, here's one of me, like, God, the camera quality.
And this is silly string. I'm going to get my brother when he's not looking. Sage, there. Hey, is your mouth hurt or something? Is your mouth pink? No.
You can't even, the camera quality is so bad you can't even see what's going on. So, the moment of truth. I did have a viral video back in the day. I call it viral. The video almost had 100,000 views. For someone who's never even gotten a video with 1,000 views on this channel, let alone, that's a lot. Especially back in the day when we weren't even trying to do this. So I'll put some context in this. Warning, you are about to see the most disgusting fat version of me you have ever seen. To put this in context, what this was a video that me and my friends were really doing for a health project in high school. And so what the theme was is we were supposed to all do a video on a different drug and trying to, you know, just put out the facts and stuff. You know, it was a school project. We decided to do mushrooms. Never done mushrooms at that point. And so we had no idea, you obviously had no idea what the actual effects really felt like or anything like that. So we were really ad-libbing the effects. Had no idea what we were really doing. And so we got real wild with it, you know, as 15, 16-year-olds do. I think a big reason this video got so many views was for the fact that I was really playing off the fat funny guy here. I mean, this is like the epitome of what I acted like when I was fat. How I would gain attention, and this was the only way I felt like I could get attention. and it just kind of puts you into where that mentality is of a bigger guy or someone who has very low self-confidence of, if I can just get attention from them in some way or make them laugh or do anything, maybe I'll be as cool as they are. Maybe I'll have as much self-confidence as they do, you know. And that all comes from within, guys. I mean, I'll state that now before I start this video, because I'm telling you guys, y'all are about to see something. Y'all are about to see something. But yeah, man, I mean, it all comes down to, like, listen, you've got to make the decision. You've got to take the responsibility you are given whenever you were born to take care of yourself, man. And taking care of yourself doesn't just mean physically, it means mentally. And a lot of times, those two intertwine together. And so you gotta have to kind of keep on your stuff. You can't have this woe is me attitude, because at a certain point, some people just don't care. You know, that's just how it is. Even if they really do care about you, they don't feel the emotions you feel. They don't truly understand. And so if you're the only person that really truly understands how you truly feel, then you're the only one that can truly do something about it. So I just like to go ahead and throw that out there, because I know a lot of people have a hard time. You know, I'm a trainer. I see it every day that people have a hard time motivating themselves, or, you know, pushing themselves to get to the point of actually being healthy. Because, you know, at that point, you're already thinking the thoughts of, well, I'm already at this state. It's going to be too hard to even get there. Listen, it's you either do it or you're going to live a shitty life. Which is worse? With that being said, wanted to throw that out here. Let's see some crazy ass shit. This was my truck, dude. This was my old Ford Ranger, and I'm not even driving it. Shrooms. I remember, this is Eric. This is Jacob. He actually just got married, so congratulations to Jacob. He's actually lost a ton of weight as well, man. I'll throw a picture of Jacob up right there, man. He's killing it right now. He's actually looking pretty ripped. He's lost a lot of body. So he's living the lifestyle as well, man. Me and him, back when I first quit and started losing all that weight, like, we actually used to do work out a lot together. This is Storm, our other buddy that was just in the video with us. This is me being fat. You can see my double chin. The no focus in the camera.
What's up, Chase? How's your girlfriend?
All right, pause. Let me explain why he just said that. One, he knew I didn't have a girlfriend. This is my buddy, Eric. Probably one of my biggest bullies, quote unquote. And if you're watching this, Eric, you're not a bully. I'm just saying it as a quote unquote. As far as, like, being overweight. Like, he was one of those guys that, and I'll give him this, he fully accepted me. But he fully accepted me as that fat friend, you know? And, man, I remember, man, but it was honestly funny. Like, I remember being back in the day, like, hey, like, say stuff like that. Hey, where's your girlfriend at? Like, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff does lower your self-esteem. But you don't blame those guys, man. Like, this is never about the trash talkers. I'm so sick of hearing people say, oh, they put my self-esteem down. Oh, it's like, they make me not want to do it.
Like, shut the fuck up.
Like, just do it. They are not preventing you from doing anything. It's sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, dude. We'd have a lot of fun together, man. I honestly miss the crap out of them. But yeah, man, I like to throw that out there as well. Is like, don't blame, like, that kind of talk is not bullying. Like, I'm going to go ahead and say that. Like, he was just teasing me. And, you know, if I'm the one that takes that personal, that's because of my own internal dialogue. He doesn't know what's going on inside my head. To him, he's just joking around with his buddy. Like, he doesn't even know what's going on inside my head. If you have such a big problem with what someone's saying to you, you can do two things. You can leave, and I wasn't going to leave. I was having dinner with my buddies, you know. They wouldn't, like, push me around. They didn't, like, bully, like, beat me up. They laughed with me, and we'd laugh together. And so if you can't take that, man, you know, if you can't take criticism, like, then you need to get the fuck out of this, you know? It's not going to work out. Like, you got to have a tough mind, man. You got to be able to roll with the punches. Like, yeah, I hated being, like, hearing stuff like that. And you can even hear it, like, when he says that, like, he was chuckling. Like, hey, Chase, how's your girlfriend?
What's up, Chase? How's your girlfriend?
Yeah, see, he's laughing at it. And I was just sitting there going, you fucker, you know? But I didn't hate him or anything. It was just one of those things. Like, yeah, it felt like I was taking a punch, but it was me that was inflicting the damage. It wasn't the words he said. It was the way I interpreted the words he said, you know? And that's one thing I like to push out there, man. Like, just because you hear something, unless someone is going out of their way to make your life miserable, don't let it, don't let it affect you. Like, you cannot let these words, because here's the thing, I'm fit now. I still have people pick on me, man. It's not like that just stops, but I still get comments like that from my buddies, man. Like, they're just messing with you. Like, you don't have to take stuff so seriously. And if you do, maybe you should stop taking stuff so seriously. It's life. Anyways, I wanted to just go ahead and throw that out there. Let's continue this video.
I want to talk about it now. Wow. You broke up. Did they go bad last night?
See, I'm just making up shit now because I'm ad-libbing.
I'm sorry. What happened? What happened, Chase? Do you want to reach?
You see, like, we hadn't planned to talk about any of that. Like, they just came in and just started talking about that shit. And I was sitting there going, what are you guys talking about? Like, I don't know what to say.
Guess what I got? What do you got? Where'd you get those? Shrooms? Bad shrooms.
They were actually kitchen shrooms.
How do you use those? You just take a little bite of them and you'll get a full-time high.
A full-time high.
Try it? I think I'll wait and see what happens to Chase, then I'll try. Go ahead.
I mean, here's the thing, like...
I dare you eat that whole thing. You pop that whole thing in your mouth.
See, yeah, he was just trying to get me on camera and have me act funny on camera. Here's the thing. Here's why I don't dog on Eric. He, out of all my friends, especially when I was fat and stuff, even though he would pick on me like that, he made me feel so accepted. Like, yeah, they would laugh about my, me being, bigger and stuff like that. Even though Jacob was bigger too, we were both roughly around the same size. But the reason it wouldn't get so mad is because he would laugh, and then we would all laugh, and then we'd do that with everything. It wasn't just about me being fat. It'd go from me, a joke about me being overweight to a joke about something on, regarding them or something like that. It bounced back and forth. They didn't just make me feel like the fat guy. They made me feel like I was part of the group, which was awesome. The only bullying that is real to me is that, and I've seen real bullying. I've pushed a dude from bullying before. The difference is the whole attitude they're having towards you. Like, if they're your buddies, it's not bullying. They're just kind of picking on you and trying to be funny, and that's what friends do. Like, I don't know one group of guys that don't do that. And I don't think it's healthy for you to not do that.
Just whip it a baby and eat it.
This stuff really makes you crazy.
Yes.
We need to wash it.
No, just take a nibble.
And I was being very genuine right here. This is when it gets wild. I had to turn down. There's not going to be any volume for this one, just because I don't want any copyright stuff going on. But we were trying to do like the good trip, bad trip, scary trip, that kind of thing. I guess Storm was supposed to be the good trip, and he didn't know how to act either. Like, none of us had ever done shrooms at that point, and so like we were just sitting there going, "Oh yeah, happy magic time!" And then there's me. So pause, okay. This is where you're going to see some shit. This is where you're going to see me rolling on the ground, desperately trying to be that funny fat guy. If you didn't believe I was that guy yet, here you go. Jacob, even though it's me. Trying to pull down my shirt so they don't see my flab. Oh my god, dude. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, how do you get to the point to where you're okay with that, like, just being out there? Like, I guess it's just my personality. I'm just one of those people who just don't care what people think to an extent. But I remember the only thing I did care about was I wanted to be part of a group. I wanted to be accepted. And I was like, oh man, I love making these guys laugh. It always makes me feel better when they're laughing. And so, yeah, it just goes to show, God, look at my face. It just goes to show you, like, where your mentality is, like, when you're working out versus when you're not, or even when you're dieting, or even when you're obese. So, yes, it is harder to to lose weight when you're already obese, and you know it's harder to get into dieting and fitness when you're already overweight. But there's no excuse for not trying. Like, there's just none. And whether that be you need to go get a personal trainer, whether that be, you know, you need to spend a little bit of extra money on food, on, you know, certain types of food so that you don't overeat. You know, obviously carrots and celery don't have a lot of nutritional value, but they definitely keep you full. It's that kind of stuff that, like, you can't let this mentality of woe is me wash over you. Because if that happens, you're not going to get anywhere, man. Because again, at the end of the day, the only one that gives a shit about you losing weight for your own good is you. Even if it's your parents, even if it's your wife, even if it's your husband, even if it's your kids, none of them really have the full gravity of the situation because they've got their own lives to worry about. They've got their own health to worry about. They've got their own weight to worry about. With as hard as it is, how on God's green earth do you think they're going to pay attention to you and help you out when they're having to try and focus on their own stuff? Obviously, they're going to try. How successful they're going to be? Probably not well, because if you're not trying to, it does not matter. Okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm glad I went ahead and got to make a video of this. Mainly, I just wanted to be able to show you guys that, because that is like my most popular video. It's got 80,000 views. Probably the most disliked video I've ever put out on YouTube. You look at some of these comments, man, like, you don't know what the power of mushrooms do. Take them for real. Oh my god. All these dudes are people who actually trip mushrooms and stuff. And we're up here just acting like idiots. And they don't even realize it's for like a health project. But I thought it was so funny. But yeah, guys, thank you again so much for watching. Subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.